help. Ooh. So if we're going to do that, we need to be clear about what we want. I've learned a lot about this in the last 2 months. How do you ask clearly? Mike, can you help me now? Mike, can you dry me? Because, I mean, you've got one hand that won't move at all. The other hand has got a towel to dry yourself. How the heck do you dry this arm? You cannot. It doesn't work. And so I've had to ask, you know, Mike, will you please dry me? And I'm not going to stand there dripping forever. Mike, can you dry me now? We need to be clear about what we need to do. We can't presume that the man will work it out. That, oh yes, I did hear the shower go, and now she's out. Oh yes, you'll need to be dried now. You need to say, I need to be dried now.
Yes, I think women think that men have some secret knowledge. That we sort of understand everything because something has happened, they've looked at us, they've lifted a towel, they've done something we should know, men. But I'm going to read you a little expression. Women somehow think that after several years of marriage, their husband should have some secret knowledge about the unspoken desires and dreams. But men are men. They don't have any secret knowledge. In fact, they didn't even know there is any secret knowledge. If men are asked to fix something, most of them will at least give it a shot. But if they're expected to instinctively know what their wives are thinking, they're doomed to failure.
So we need to be clear in our communication as women. Like I was saying, Mike, will you please dry my arm now? Otherwise, and if you say, could you dry, I have used this word in the past, this is the could word. Mike, could you dry my arm?
Yeah, of course I could. Why, did you want something?
Would you dry my arm?
Now?
And then now, or it could be next week, when it was self-dried anyway.
Do you used to say, well, could you carry the bin out? Yes. So I finished what I'm doing, and an hour later she comes in, you didn't take the bin out.
The bin man had already been.
No, I knew the bin man. I didn't know I was expected to take it like now. I didn't know now was the time, but...
Another thing that Mike asked for, which I thought was very strange, it seemed to me like he was making it worse, was he asked me to use something to tell him when I wanted him to help me now.
And we were going to bring a little practical thing, my little bell, but we forgot to bring
I
it.
didn't know we were going to bring it. Oh well.
Ding, 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 ding.
And then he knew he had to come and help me now. Which seemed very strange to me, but he said it was easier because you can put all these tones in your voice.
Where are you? Why don't you join me? Come here now! That little bell is a lot nicer, isn't it? So now we come on to this. Communication is more than words. So, more than words. Many women say, when you say, how are you? They say,
I'm fine.
I'm fine, that's great. What does that sound like, men? It sounds like she's fine, doesn't it? Yeah, great, now we know. Or I can say, how are you, Lyn?
I'm fine.
It sounds, is she fine? She's fine. She says she's fine. I don't have any secret knowledge that she's not fine. But actually, she's not fine. And actually what she's saying is, ask me, I've had a bad day. I want you to listen to me. I want you to put your arms around me. That's what she meant by I'm fine. This is back to the secret knowledge. You just don't do. We have to start to understand some secret knowledge because women can't seem to stop saying, I'm fine. That's the only thing. They can't say, I've had a really bad day, can you give me a hug? That's far too easy for men to understand. You can't possibly do that. Men have to understand that I'm fine means, please put your arms around me, ask me what happened, cheer me up, don't try and fix that. For goodness sake, don't try and fix it. Put your arms around and say, everything's good. Isn't that right?
I think so.
I think that's right. And well, men, wait, now if we're asked, if you ask me,
How are you?
I'm okay. And what does I'm okay mean? Well, actually, maybe we have a secret language, because actually I'm okay for a man, it can mean lots of different things. It can mean, I'm okay, like I'm fine, good. Or it can mean, everything's going to, and it's a bit wrong, but I'm going to fix it. I don't need any help. I'm a proud man, I've started this, I'm going to finish it. I know my way round to this new place, and I'm driving around, and I know where I'm going. I'm certainly not going to ask for any directions. I'm okay can actually mean some different things to different people, the I'm okay, for a man. But it isn't asking for arms around, I want to help. No, it's okay, it's okay. I'm going to sort it out. Don't ask anymore. But actually for the woman, she actually wants to be involved in our lives. So if we're not really okay, if we're really fine, but we're saying we're okay, then maybe we should talk to our wives and let them help us. Talk it through. They want to talk it through. They want to be involved in our lives. They don't want us just to get on and do it on our own and be a man in the old macho sense. Macho men are not usually what women want. They want a husband that cares and talks and shares their lives with.
Nice and sensitive.
Too sensitive. But it's good to share our life together, isn't it? I mean, we're going to live together for 80 years. Well, by the time we're 100. Well, nearly. So we better start enjoying it if we're not enjoying it and talking about what we enjoy. If we want to enjoy life, we might as well talk about it, mightn't we? Because then we know together what we enjoy. We're going to share our dreams, so share our joys, share our problems. And that's where men have the biggest problem, because sharing our joys is usually quite easy. Sharing our problems means that maybe we've failed. Maybe we've not been as perfect as we should be. Maybe we're not as good at it as we thought we were. Well, actually, most women don't want us to be perfect. They want us to be someone they share their life with. We've got to get used to being not quite as manly a man, but being a husband that loves their wives and wants to enjoy sharing problems as well as joys.
Ecclesiastes talks about how it's good for us to be together. Ecclesiastes 4:9-12, a well-known scripture but well worth repeating. 2 are better than 1 because they have a good return for their labour. If either of them falls down, one can help the other up. But pity anyone who falls and has no one to help them up. Also, if 2 lie down together, they will keep warm. But how can one keep warm alone? Though one may be overpowered, 2 can defend themselves. A cord of 3 strands is not quickly broken.
So now we're going to talk about communicating about some other things. For instance, communicating about our finances and our spending. Some people in their marriages will keep their finances to themselves. We have an account here for me and an account here for you. And we'll share a bit. Maybe we pay half the mortgage each. Maybe we both pay for our meals. And when you want to go and buy something, go and buy something. But marriage is about sharing everything. How can sharing everything have separate things that the other person doesn't know about? Part of being married is to share what we have together, to share our finances, to share our bank accounts, to share our debt. Sometimes, I mean, when we started our marriage, I had debt and then had some money. In fact, some of the deposit for our house came, all of it came from me. I've had to pay for it ever since. And the other thing is, if we don't share things in our marriage about our finances, it'll lead to significant mistrust. Even if we are a giving sort of person. We have friends who, like one of whom, of the couple, likes to give.
Yes, a young couple we know, they are saving for an extension on their house. So he's working more hours and putting all this money in. But every so often she looks at their joint account and she thinks, oh, there's a lot in there. And then she sees all these various causes and she thinks to herself, I must give to that because we have the money to do it. And so, without consulting her husband, she gives some money to this cause. And then he thinks, I thought we had more money than that. And then he finds out that she has given this money. I mean, it was a good thing to do, but that money was being saved for their extension, which seems to be taking longer to build up the money for. So that you need to communicate about that.
And it might be the right thing to do, but it's not the right thing to do to go behind your partner's back, your spouse's back, and do it on your own. The other thing about marriage is it's enjoyable to use the money that God has given to us in whatever way is good for our marriage, or whatever way God wants us to use it. And for some of us, spending money on a house is better than spending money on entertainment. For some people, they want to go and enjoy things now, and the house is less important, so the extension can wait, but let's go and see the theatre, or let's go on holiday. The holiday is more important, spending time together. Or it might be really important for us, and God's challenge to us as givers, to give some money. But whatever it is, let's enjoy talking about it, and let's share together what money we have and what God wants us to do with it, and pray about how we use it together and agree together. I mean, part of being married and part of enjoying doing things together, like a holiday, for instance, is preparing for it and sharing together in the preparation. And then we can enjoy the holiday together. And part of that's how are we going to use our money? Are we going to have a big holiday, small holiday, and give the money to our children so they can have a holiday as well? Or are we going to... You see what I'm saying? We need to share together and decide what money is going to be spent on. And we need to learn to be content with what we've got. Some of us, when we started our marriage, we had no money at all. In fact, our outgoings were more than our incomings, which was sort of difficult, but it was fun. We lived on soapboxes, and our entertainment was playing games with our friends who came. Life is different now, but it was equally fun. We can have fun, whatever resources we have, but we need to agree together how we do that.
Another scripture for you about being content with what you have. 1 Timothy 6, 6 to 10. But godliness with contentment is great gain. For we brought nothing into the world, and we can take nothing out of it. But if we have food and clothing, we will be content with that. Those who want to get rich fall in temptation and a trap into many foolish and harmful desires that plunge people into ruin and destruction. For the love of money is a root of all kinds of evil. Some people, eager for money, have wandered from the faith and pierced themselves with many griefs. We communicate in different ways, don't we? Generalising, women seem to talk quite a lot. And we like to build up relationship through that. And as Mike was implying before, men like to fix things rather than just listening. Men want to work out what is wrong. Let me see if I can find out something to sort out about this.
So I was looking for your beautiful presentation. It's disappeared again. There it comes. Understanding stars. Oh, look at that. Oh, what a wonderful picture. What's that with the glasses?
Looks like, well, she's talking.
Well, that's natural. She's talking. Okay. So, what else do we communicate? One of the things. Well, we are going to talk about finance tomorrow morning, and Peter's going to talk to us about that and give us some good tips about how to deal with that. One of the other things we're going to talk about is sex, intimacy, and talking about that, communicating about sex and intimacy is really important in our marriage as well. And for us, for some men, they romance their women up to the time they get married. So flowers every day, gifts, and all sorts of wonderful things. Perhaps take her out every... You're trying to make me multitask by talking behind my back. Would you like this?
No.
No?
It won't work.
It did work. It does work.
It did. It's off.
Yeah. So yes, we do all these romantic things before, but then marriage comes. Now we've got our woman. Now we don't need romance, do we? We've got our wife in bed every night. Oh, we've got her in our house, and well, yeah, sex without romance. So why bother? Well, I think we'll learn a little bit from Gustavo and Rosemary tomorrow. That's actually part of our intimate life together is to romance each other and to continue to romance through our marriage. Not only is that going to give us both pleasure, particularly the wife, but the men, you'll get pleasure too if the final thing for you is the act of marriage. Actually, a bit of romance is going to help you in your objective as well, as we will talk about tomorrow. And now we have this wonderful little video, which is a sort of example of some men and some women.
We would warn you, for those of you who are not happy about alcohol, that it does feature alcohol, but it's just an advert and it just appeals to us because of the romantic side of
We're
it.
not saying you have to drink it here. How is it going to be?
I don't know. Hopefully.
This is where you have a little think about everything that we've said so far. And hopefully it jumps up. And maybe it doesn't. I hope it comes.
Here we are. Hopefully there's sound as well. Maybe. Oh, we're in the way, aren't we? Sorry.
Can you see that?
Middle to the right. Yes.
Play. Play.
Some drink it because they're responsible.
Play.
The taste.
I never tire of seeing them.
Important to realise that while intimacy for men can be spelt, we've got the PowerPoint here. This is an important PowerPoint. If we can go.
Now
PowerPoint
communication
with
2 now.
Communication 2. It's going to come soon. How do men spell intimacy? S is going to come E-X. Or maybe companionship. But certainly one of those here. But for women it's spelled communication.
And for men.
Okay. So the point is we need to enjoy our communication if we're going to enjoy our intimate time together. And it's really important. Actually, it's really important for both of us. But it's particularly important for most women.
Also, we need to consider our culture to communicate better. I can see several couples here who are married to somebody of a different nationality. Wave at me if you're married to somebody of a different nationality.
Oh,
There are lots of people waving here.
well, you've got a good seminar tomorrow on culture.
We went to a wedding, I may add it was a Nigerian wedding, where we were invited at a certain time. When we got there, the ushers were there, and a few people were there, but not many other people. And we got given an order of service, and we found that the time we were invited and the time of the order of service were an hour different.
Having rushed to the wedding, forgotten the wedding gift, decided not to go back for the wedding gift because we will be late, and we arrived an hour early.
And then, of course, the bride was half an hour late as well. So we all have different, and even if we are married to somebody of the same nationality as we are, there are still certain cultures, different rituals, traditions that each of our families have. So we have to learn these different things. And so we need to understand, but obviously if we are married to somebody from a different country or originally from a different religion, then we will find it even more challenging. And so it's even more important then to listen carefully to what the other person is saying. Seek clarification. What are they really saying? What do they really mean by this? Because often what we hear is not necessarily what they mean.
And listening is one of those things, it's strange, it's often said that God made us with one mouth and two ears, and you've all heard this. So we should have learnt the lesson that actually God wanted us to listen more than speak. Have we learnt the lesson? Most of us haven't learnt the lesson, and we still try to speak and prepare what we're going to speak before we actually listen to what the other person is saying. It's important that we understand, and understanding isn't just about listening, it's about really listening. It's about not being judgmental in our listening, because we can often already prepare what we think about what they're going to say. So we're only listening critically so we can get an argument about what they're going to say so that we can be right and they can be wrong. We're not actually listening not non-judgmentally to really hear where they're coming from. And sometimes we're so objective in our, what's he really trying to say here? All they want us to do is empathise and really hear the heart, really hear the sensitivity, like the I'm fine. We've got to hear the I'm fine, or even the I'm okay, and really hear what's going on in our hearts. Because the words are, as you probably know, words are only 7% or something of the amount of communication that goes on. The rest is tone of voice, it's our body language, the way we do things, the way we use our hands, and I use them more, because I've been in Italy a lot, so I use them more than most. But it's all to do with how we come over and how we communicate, not just what we say. And getting underneath. Sometimes a good way of really understanding is to come back and ask the question, did I really understand this? Is this what you're trying to say? And repeat it in your own words, if it's something really important. Especially if there's a cultural difference or a language difference of some kind. But even if there's not, there's a female-male difference, if nothing else, all of us have that. Just to say, well, okay, this is an important thing. Have I really understood you? Is this what you really want to say? And just repeat that back and make sure that you're really understanding each other. So that's active listening, rather than just, what are you saying? No, I don't agree with that. Yeah.
Yes, as Mike was waving away there, I was aware even more of how I just stand here and talk. And if we sit on a settee and talk, I can feel myself being bounced up and down. I just sit there and talk. It's different, so different.
Are we different?
Yes. Another thing we need to consider is, how do we communicate to God? Do we communicate to God together? Is it a priority in our life? Are we too busy to do that? Do we think we've got too many other things on? It's so easy to get things crowded out. I'm sure you've all seen these things where they say, how much can you put in? But you need to put God as that priority first. There's time for other things to fit around that, and then everything will fit into place.
And we're going to talk to somebody who's going to talk about that, somebody who's not actually going to arrive till Saturday night, but they do have a good excuse. Because,
no, this is...
Isn't it?
Oh, sorry, with God. Yes, I'm thinking about... I was saying the too busy bit. Sorry, that's what I was listening on the too busy
You're
bit.
not doing the God bit then.
I am doing
the God bit. Yeah, you're supposed to be doing the God bit. It says communicating with God.
I'm too busy.
Okay.
Too busy.
Well, there's two people talking. There's one talking about busyness and one talking about God. So the
demonstration of how we see things differently.
But the people that are going to talk about God will be here. But they're talking about God this weekend because they're at a ministers' conference in Elim, at an Elim conference. So they're rushing back on Saturday evening to be with us. They said to speak to us. I think it's for the candlelit dinner, really. But they're coming for the candlelit dinner, and then they're going to speak to us Sunday at the worship service about that. That's Roland Falapi, who will be speaking to us about putting God in his place as a priority in our relationship.
If we're careful, or not careful should I say, we make ourselves too busy to give God that priority. He wants us to put him first, and then things will fall into place much better for us.
One of the really important things, and the last one we have in mind for tonight, is communicating about the future. We had months, my job